Welcome to our Impactful Projects and Planning Micro Training Series. I'm Jamie Yazdani, and I started Yazdani Consulting and Facilitation to help people solve management problems. Through our project management and project coaching services, our planning support, and through leadership and management trainings like this series, I'm able to support my clients in getting things done. In today's micro training, we're going to talk about meeting agendas and how to use them to solve problems and address team challenges. If you are watching during the premiere of this micro training, please do engage with me in the chat. I'll be responding to your questions and comments in real time. But you can also reach out to me directly. Visit yazdaniconsulting.com/IPP to connect. So first, let's talk about how meeting agendas can help us solve team challenges. I really believe meeting agendas are an underutilized tool in a leader's toolkit. They help us set expectations for how we are going to be spending our time together. Leaders can use meeting agendas to direct conversations to critical topics and tasks and ensure that we're using our time more constructively. And agendas shared ahead of time allow attendees to prepare their own thoughts and ideas before the meeting, supporting a more collaborative team environment. Meeting agendas can also help us target problems and challenges and move collectively towards solutions. So let's discuss some simple strategies for creating and using problem-solving meeting agendas. To create a more collaborative team environment and support transparency, ask your team for input as you develop the agenda. What topics should we cover and discuss? Share the agenda ahead of the meeting to allow attendees to better prepare. If they know the topics that are going to be covered, they're in a better position to bring ideas and actively participate. So share it at least a day or so ahead of time. Your agenda can be a continuing resource that's used to take notes during the meeting, document conclusions, next steps for sharing after the meeting. In developing meeting agendas and planning for facilitating conversations, I really like to use my discuss, conclude, remind communication process. So make sure that there is time in a meeting to discuss topics and issues for folks to ask questions, but always come to some type of conclusion, whether that's a decision or documenting issues or progress or what was discussed. And then we want to remind our teams of any conclusions and next steps that they need to take after the meeting. Discuss, conclude, and remind is reflected in my recommended meeting structure. In general, I recommend starting your meeting with a brief discussion or reminder of any shared goals of the team or of that meeting. This helps create shared purpose and a shared vision of success and can really encourage engagement. Then you want to dive into those relevant topics and discussion, prioritizing collaboration over information sharing. Don't waste valuable meeting time on updates and reports that could be shared for review before the meeting. Spend time in the meeting discussing and collaborating. If discussions turn into a rehashing of the same topics again and again, or you never seem to get to all of the critical topics on your agenda, set an amount of time from 5 to 25 minutes for each agenda item, and then move on. Also add time later in the meeting to address any questions or new topics. Finally, we always want to end our meeting with a review of any decisions, conclusions, and a discussion of next steps attendees should take after the meeting. So let's look at 3 common problems often faced by teams, committees, and collaborative groups. And I'll share a template for a meeting agenda that can help address each problem. A common problem is that too much time is spent in meetings sharing updates and information. These meetings can feel like mini lectures with very little discussion or collaboration. We solve this problem by collecting and sharing updates prior to the meeting so that we can shift the meeting's focus to topics and discussions that actually require collaboration, that actually require people to be together. Before the meeting, ask for brief written updates from each group or individual, then share those updates with attendees to review before the meeting, along with the meeting agenda. You can begin the meeting with a reminder of the team's shared purpose or goals or the specific goal of the meeting. Then we want to allow for a brief period of time early in the meeting for any questions about or discussion of those updates that we've shared. You can add set amount of times for each agenda item to ensure time is spent discussing collaborative items rather than rehashing updates. Add any topics that require collaboration, such as discussions of group activities or projects, or topics requiring shared decision-making. This is where you should spend most of the meeting's time. Then end the meeting with a brief review of any decisions made, conclusions reached, and the next steps that need to be taken. Using this type of agenda should help shift your valuable meeting time away from a reading of updates towards items actually requiring collaboration. So another common problem is that your team or committee lacks direction. Perhaps your group needs to develop a strategy or determine a shared purpose. How do you prevent endless discussion about options and reach consensus on how to move forward as a team? We solve this problem by developing a few critical questions that will help drive development of a strategy. Questions like, what do we hope to achieve? What is one outcome we absolutely must deliver? What is one outcome we could live without? Share those questions with attendees on a single shared document prior to the meeting and ask them to write brief responses to the questions on that shared document. Then you begin the meeting with a reminder of that team's shared purpose or goals to kind of set the stage for reaching consensus. During the meeting, you'll discuss each critical question, focusing on areas of commonality and consensus among the written responses. The goal is to come to a shared answer or conclusion to each question. You'll end the meeting with a review of the conclusions reached and a discussion of the next steps needed to formalize or move forward on elements of your shared strategy. Using this type of agenda shifts idea sharing and consideration of options to the time before the meeting, so that the time during the meeting is spent coming to conclusions and discussing next steps. Another common issue is that despite all of the time spent discussing how to move forward, little is accomplished on critical tasks or collaborative projects after a meeting ends. How can we make sure we move our meetings from discussion to actionable next steps? We solve this problem by clearly defining outcomes and tasks during the meeting and using much of our meeting time to discuss issues and recognize contributions. Prior to the meeting, we can ask our team to contribute to the agenda, providing updates on progress towards specific tasks and any issues or concerns that need to be brought to the group. So again, we'll begin the meeting with a reminder of the team's shared purpose or goals and the outcomes we are working toward to set the stage for continued engagement. Then spend some time discussing or reviewing progress toward existing tasks before discussing any issues or challenges. Be sure to recognize progress toward project or team milestones and call out the contributions of the team. Gratitude goes a really long way in encouraging folks to complete future tasks. Then end the meeting with a review of any decisions made and the next steps that need to be taken, clearly assigning due dates and responsibilities. After the meeting, you can follow up with a review of those tasks and deadlines. This type of agenda borrows from project management and agile best practices, using meeting time to collaborate on issues and making tasks and next steps clear during the meeting so that your team knows what is expected of them after the meeting ends. So those are a few very simple strategies and ideas for using meeting agendas to address common team problems and challenges. If you want more ideas and templates for creating better meeting agendas, you can download our free problem-solving meeting agendas guide at guides.yazdaniconsulting.com/agendas. If you need help coming up with critical questions or addressing your specific meeting and team challenges, visit yazdaniconsulting.com/contact to schedule a time to talk and find out all of the ways to reach out to us. So thanks for participating in our impactful projects and planning micro training series. Visit yazdaniconsulting.com/IPP to view all the sessions in the series, learn about upcoming premieres, and connect with us. Thank you.